So, first man 5 million years ago. Understand this? It does not mean that before 5 million years ago our ancestor was absent. We believe that our ancestor came into existence, or our ancestor is from 5 million years ago, which means 5 lakhs years ago. Before that also our ancestor is there. Without our ancestor, Australopithecines will not be there. But what? Before Australopithecines there are some Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Shivapithecus, Sugrivapithecus. So, various fossils were been there, but those fossils are not showing the evidences similar to us. Hence, we are not coming to a conclusion that they are our ancestors. With 100% guarantee, we are not coming up before 5 million years ago, means 6 million years ago, 7 million years ago, 8 million years ago. We are unable to come to a conclusion that they are our ancestors. Why? Because our physical body and the 6 million years ago, 7 million years ago, 13 million years ago, the fossils are not similar to our today's Homo sapien. So, we are unable to come to a conclusion that they are our ancestors or not. But what happened? In 5 million years ago, we got one particular fossil, a dead body. What is this fossil, sir? Nothing. They will be doing excavations. They will be doing archaeological, anthropological excavations. When they are doing archaeological, anthropological evidences, when they get some dead bodies, when they get, what they do dating. There are some methods like absolute dating method, relative dating method, potassium argon dating method, radiocarbon dating method. So, they do the carbon dating method onto that fossil like this. I did. So, I got this fossil like a baby. Then what I did a radiocarbon dating method. So, with this I will clearly explain. There is something called as topic 1.8a dating methods. So, I will do dating to here. So, I will come to know the time period of this fossil. I will come to a conclusion, the time period of this particular fossil. So, then I will see this particular endocast. I will see this particular skull, how this skull is there, whether our skull, this skull, both are same or not, whether the structure inside, hyoid bone, this hyoid bone is like our hyoid bone or not. So, we will be analyzing and we will be coming to a conclusion that if this particular structure and our structure is approximately same or near to the same, then I will come to a conclusion that yes, he might be the ancestor of us. He might be the ancestor of us. In that way, we came to a conclusion that at 5 million years ago, there is something called as a fossil we got, which is called as Australopithecines. We got a fossil called as Australopithecines. Then what happened? Time went on. Then again I am doing excavations. By the time I reached 1.6 million years ago, when I am doing excavations, see 5.5 million years ago, 1.6 million years ago means nearing, or we are going far? Nearing. So, 1.6 million years ago, I got Homo erectus. Why these names? Reasoning will be there, I will tell you later. But as of now, you understand. So, I got at 5 million years ago one fossil called as Australopithecines. At 1.6 million years ago, I got a fossil called as Homo erectus. You tell me this is Homo erectus. So, this Homo erectus will be similar to I am Homo sapien. This Homo erectus will be similar to Homo sapiens, or it will be dissimilar to Homo sapien? Similar. When compared to Australopithecines, Homo erectus will be more similar to modern man, or Australopithecines will be more similar to modern man? Homo erectus. As time goes on, as time is evolving. Then I got by 1.6 million years ago, I had Homo erectus. Then what happened? By the time, slowly we are evolving, the people are evolving. By the time 0.2 million years ago, Neanderthal evolved in Europe. Neanderthal. Almost same to man, but not 100%, similar to man. Then what happened? By the time I reached 40,000 years ago, I reached Homo sapiens, which is exactly same to modern man. So, what happened? When they analyzed these fossils, they came to a conclusion. They came to a conclusion that Homo erectus man is somewhat similar. The Homo erectus skull is somewhat similar, nearing to similar to the modern man. How we have this endocast, how we have this cranium. Similarly, the Homo erectus is having. So, the origin of language started from Homo erectus. In that way, they started comparing biologies. They started comparing biologies and they are coming for a conclusion. So, in evolutionary development, human acquired sophisticated brain. I have a sophisticated brain with biological and neurological capacity for creative language. True. Followings are different theories. So, how this biological changes happened? What changes happened in my biology so that a creative language took birth? So, in that particular process, 4 or 5 theories came into existence, and the first theory is called as according to Holloway and Kulik, according to biologist Holloway and Kulik. So, here now what I am trying to understand, oh, sophisticated brain came into existence. So, I have to compare. So, comparison started and 4 or 5 theories came into existence. The first theory is called as according to Holloway and Kulik. Is Kulik. Number 1, what Holloway told? They reviewed data on fossil hominin, endocast. Fossil hominin means me, Homo sapiens, fossil hominin, and concluded that language development was underway for Homo erectus and was mostly completed by time of Homo heidelbergensis. What is Homo heidelbergensis, sir? What happened? Homo erectus, varieties are there. You will understand in deep later, but as of now, Homo erectus varieties are there. For example, there is an African variety of Homo erectus, which is called as Homo ergaster. Means what happened? Australopithecine man evolved in Africa only. So, from 5 million years ago to 1.6 million years ago, the man evolved in Africa and he was staying only in Africa. But by the time 1.6 million years ago, what happened to the environment? The environment is getting changed in Africa. When the environment is getting changed, the Homo erectus man who evolved in Africa from Australopithecines, yes or no? That Homo erectus man could not adjust to the environment. That Homo erectus man could not adjust to the environment. So, what? When I am not adjusting to the environment, what I will do? I will search for the place. I will be in search of new place. So, I am searching for new place. So, by the time I got searched, so some people went towards Asian side in search of very good environment. Some people went to European side in search of very good environment. Few people stayed there only. The people who stayed in Africa, they are called as Homo erectus ergaster. The people who went towards Europe are called as Homo heidelbergensis. Homo heidelbergensis. And the Homo erectus variety who went towards Asia are 2. Asia, they are 2. One is Homo pekinensis, other is Homo javanicus. Java, which country? Indonesia. Pekinensis sounding China. So, from Homo erectus, they left Africa. So, from Australopithecines from 5 million years ago to 1.6 million years ago, the Homo erectus evolved in Africa. He was living in Africa. The evolution of man happened in Africa only. But what happened? By the time 1.6 million years ago, there is a drastic changes in the environment. When there is a drastic changes in the environment, man want to survive. When he is also man, logical man. Every man is a logical man. He might be a primitive man, early man, or today man. Every man is a logical man. For logical for what? For survival. Every man will use his logic mind for what? Survival. Survival is the final thing. What is the ambition of a man? Survival. The first target of every man is what? Survival. So, in the process of survival, this particular Homo erectus man went to different parts of the world searching for the environment. Few people lived there. They are called as Homo erectus ergaster. Few people went to Asia, they are called as Homo erectus ergaster, Homo erectus pekinensis in China, Homo erectus javanicus in Indonesian region. But the people who went to Europe, they properly got adjusted. Why? Because the temperature was increasing in Africa and they went towards Europe side and the temperature was almost temperate and they got settled there. And their name is called as Homo erectus heidelbergensis. Then what happened to the man who was living in Africa? Homo ergaster, extinction. Homo pekinensis, extinction. Homo javanicus, extinction. Why? Because he could not adapt to the, when he could not adapt to the environment, he will become extinct. But one man was surviving, Homo erectus heidelbergensis. This Homo erectus heidelbergensis evolved into Neanderthal. Where? In Europe. That is the reason we tell that evolution of man started in Africa but stabilized in Europe. Why? Because the man evolved, but he could not adapt himself to the changing environment. So, that Homo erectus man went to different parts of the world. So, wherever they went, they could not adapt, they became extinct, but they evolved where? in Europe, and that particular fossil name is called as Homo erectus heidelbergensis. Sir, what is this Pekinensis javanicus heidelbergensis? The fossil where we get the site name is called as heidelbergensis. We did see, for example, this is, if we talk about, this is Hyderabad, Domalgooda. Don't take Gandhinagar, Ashoknagar, it's common across India. But if I take Domalgooda, if I go to Delhi and I will tell that we stay in Domalgooda, what Domalgooda, they will tell or not. Similarly, heidelbergensis site name. So these names are given according to the fossil where it is available. So heidelbergensis is also fossil site. Pekinensis is also fossil site where I got the fossil. So Eragaster got extinct, Pekinensis got extinct, Javanicus got extinct, but only one man evolved from Homo erectus variety. Who is that man? Heidelbergensis. Why he might be evolving? Why he survived? Why? Because he is becoming like a human being. Why anyone will survive when, if one man is there, other is there, UPSC examination is going on, and I am very much practical, realistic, I am having reasoning or I am having scientific approach, other person is by-hearting everything. So who will clear the exam? It is very clear that the person who is understanding, means who is evolving. The person who is not evolving, he will stay there. The person who is evolving will get the rank. Similarly, Heidelbergensis was nearing to the modern man. Who is modern man? Homo sapiens. So from this they concluded, Holloway concluded that, so he got the Neanderthal. He got the Neanderthal skull, and he checked the Neanderthal skull and a dead body from mortuary. Both he checked. So the endocast of Neanderthal is similar to the endocast of modern man. So it's confirmed that Neanderthal means Heidelbergensis evolved into Neanderthal. So everything started from Heidelbergensis, and the next stage is what? Neanderthal in Europe only. So the evolution of language started in Homo erectus, but originally who? Homo erectus Heidelbergensis. So from this fossil evidences, they came to a conclusion and conclude that language development was underway for Homo erectus, started from Homo erectus and mostly completed by time of Homo heidelbergensis and completely consolidated, and he was talking like a modern man from Neanderthal. The beginning happened in Homo erectus and he went towards European side, then it is called as Homo heidelbergensis, and Homo heidelbergensis highlighted or stabilized the language system according to Holloway. Number 2, second theory, what it did? Comparison between the skull of ape and man. You have to draw this diagram, but not neat diagram, rough diagram. At least it should look like skull. So difference between ape and modern man. Both of them have larynx descended into throat. Larynx descended into the throat. Voice box is called as. So voice box is descended into the throat. But what happened? This top part is called as hyoid bone. This hyoid bone. But in human hyoid, means in human beings, hyoid bone descended further, thus forming our unique vocal system. So he compared with ape and modern man. In ape as well as modern man, larynx is present because of his sounds are coming out. But the sounds are having clarity, the sounds are clear because the man is having a hyoid bone which is descended further. By showing this difference, he told that human beings are having vocal patterns but not apes. Why? Because we evolved from primates. But what is the difference? Primates means a part of apes. We evolved from primates, but our throat biology and their throat biology is different. Why? They also have larynx, we also have larynx, but our hyoid bone is deeper inside the throat. This might be the one of the reason which is responsible for evolution of language for modern man. Second theory, by comparing the throats, hyoid bones. Number 3, base of cranium studies. This base of cranium studies compared with chimpanzee. Chimpanzee means apes. They compared with chimpanzee and they came to a conclusion that chimpanzee cranium, this complete is called as cranium, this part is called as endocast. So the cranium here is vertical, completely vertical. Whereas modern man, if you touch your head, if you touch your cranium, it is not vertical, it is curved, it is flexed, it is flexed. Third theory tells that it is because of the flexed version of the skull, which is unique to modern man, might be the reason for the evolution of language. Third, in ape, base of cranium is straight, vertical, straight. In human beings, it is flexed, reflecting changing position of larynx. So, as it got changed, so obviously it will have an impact on larynx, and larynx is inside and the hyoid bones is inside the throat. So, this might be the factor for the evolution of language, third theory, compared with apes. Fourth, Neanderthal could speak language like modern man. Then what I did? I started comparing Neanderthalics. See, evolution, this is one after the other. Earlier, first it was this in 1920, then it is by 1930, then it is by 1940, then it is by 1970. Time is going on and we are becoming more scientific, and we reached here. And here we came to a conclusion. According to Lieberman and Krillin. Who reconstructed vocal anatomy of Neanderthal and compared it with modern man. And they concluded that they were incapable of vocalizing certain vowel sounds, but ultimately resolved with the discovery of first Neanderthal hyoid bone. Means up to then they thought that when they reconstructed the skull of Neanderthal, then they didn't came to a conclusion that, why? Because the skull is different. Lieberman and Krillin. The skull of Neanderthal and the skull of modern man is not same. Why? Because it is how much time? Neanderthal time is 0.2 million years ago, and modern man is 40,000. Lot of million means 10 lakhs. 0.2 million years ago means 2 lakhs years ago, 40,000 years ago. So, the skull is not same. Then they could not come to a conclusion. They further studies did. They studied now hyoid bone. They started now studying hyoid bone. When they started studying the hyoid bone, they came to a conclusion. Neanderthal hyoid bone, that Neanderthal hyoid bone was almost identical to the modern man. My hyoid bone and Neanderthal hyoid bones are same, identical. So, this Lieberman and Krillin came to a conclusion that it is not Homo erectus or Homo heidelbergensis which is responsible, or which is the species from where the sound came into existence or language came into existence. They confirmed who? Neanderthal. This is almost identical to that of modern man. So, no difference between vocal ability between Neanderthal and modern man. Hence, believed that verbal communication started from Neanderthal. How I came to conclusion? Completely analyzing similarities between the hyoid bone of Neanderthal and modern man. Fourth theory. First one, what they told, it is Homo erectus and Homo heidelbergensis. Second one, what they told, hyoid bone. By understanding the hyoid bone, they came to a conclusion that apes hyoid bone is not there, and modern man hyoid bone, that is the main difference. Third one, what? Cranium is straight for apes, mainly chimpanzee, and whereas for modern man it is flexed. This might be the reason for the descendant larynx. And the fourth one is what? I compare directly with Neanderthal and how the Neanderthal hyoid bone is there similarly, and this is final. This is final and scientific. And this is current affair also, recently. So, now we came to a conclusion by 21st century. By 2000 year we came to a conclusion that we cannot come to conclusion. We cannot just come to a conclusion by seeing these fossils, by seeing this endocast, by just seeing the endocast, we cannot come to a conclusion. What is original factor which is responsible? What is the original factor which is responsible for evolution of man is genes. So, internal something is there which is responsible for evolution of man. It is not just biology. This biology is because of genes. And the basic building block of human being is proteins. You studied in 9th class, not new. The basic building block of modern man, basic building block of any species on the earth, any living species on the earth, any animal on the earth is protein synthesis. If proteins synthesis is happening, I am talking to you. If protein synthesis are happening, I am breathing. So, everything is proteins. What is proteins? Amino acid sequence. What is amino acid? A chemical formula, a chemical combination of oxygen, hydrogen and carbon. That particular chemical formula combination is called as amino acid sequence. That amino acid sequence arrangement is called as protein. According to that arrangement, protein synthesis will be happening. What is proteins, sir? Hormones, lipids, blood, serum, anything. Apart from muscles, the blood complete, the fluid part which consists, the enzymes which consist, all are proteins. How that protein manufacture will happen? We will discuss later, but now as of now you understand that protein manufacture in my body will happen according to the code which is present in the DNA, according to the information which is present in the gene. Understand in very rudimentary form. In our human being, we have chromosomes. In our human being, we have chromosomes. These chromosomes are made of DNAs. DNA is a structural element. This building is made up of bricks. Now, I am calling it as a building. So, that individual element is called as DNA and that complete element is called as chromosome. Now, you see, for every room I have a 40 to 50 bricks, I cemented it. 40 to 50 bricks, I cemented it. So, air will not come inside. Why? Because there is a wall. So, wall is having a function. So, 4 or 5, there will be a sequence of DNA like A, T, C, G, C, A, T, C, G, there will be a sequence of DNAs. That sequence of DNA will have a function which is called as gene. Like for example, I am a human body. This is my brain, this is my head. In that head, some all small particles are there. The small particles are small things, small tissues which are present in my head. They have a function, but individually they will not show the function. Together they will show the function. So, this together of the DNA is called as gene. When they are in a proper arranged format, then only it will show its expression. So, the combination of DNAs is called as gene. That gene will have a function. You understand this? So, there is one particular gene called as FOXP2 gene. There is one particular gene called as FOXP2 gene. Any function in my body, like my skin color, in the chromosome there will be a gene. That gene will tell how my skin color should be there. In my chromosome there will be a gene, it will tell that how my eye color should be there. In my chromosomes there will be one particular gene which will tell that how my hair color should be there. So, everything which is happening in my body is a result of genes. As of now you understand this. So, genes are responsible for a function, genes are responsible for a purpose. So, there is one particular gene in the Neanderthal which is called as FOXP2 gene. That FOXP2 gene is having two mutations like ATCG, small mutation, ATGG. It should be like ATCG, now it is like ATGG. Two mutations are present in FOXP2 gene. So, that FOXP2 gene is having two mutations. Same FOXP2 gene is also present in modern man, which is also having two mutations. Means whether the FOXP2 gene which is present in Neanderthal and the FOXP2 gene which is present in modern man, both are same. And when I studied the FOXP2 gene in modern man, I came to a conclusion that the sound, the vocal patterns is because of FOXP2 gene. And in my FOXP2 gene, two mutations are there. In Neanderthal also, when I am excavating the fossils, I got a small sample. When I found that sample and I took to the laboratory and studied it, and I made the combination of DNA which is called as gene. That gene also, when he compared with my FOXP2 gene, the gene which is available in the Neanderthal fossil also, it is FOXP2 gene with same structure. And when I studied myself, that FOXP2 gene is responsible for language, vocal pattern, and that FOXP2 gene is also similar in. This is the reason. So, gene, FOXP2 gene which is present in modern man and the FOXP2 gene which is present in Neanderthal, both the FOXP2 genes are having same mutations. You are staying somewhere in Kerala, I am staying somewhere in Hyderabad. You are having one tattoo at the same location, there also the person is having the same tattoo at one location, both same format of tattoos. Suddenly you both came together and both locations are same. Some relevance will be there or not? Why at the same location with the same diagram with the same thing? Some coincidence will be there or not? Similarly, when we compare the FOXP2 gene of modern man and Neanderthal, both the FOXP2 genes are same, including mutations. And on the tattoo you have a scratch, that person is also having a tattoo, a scratch. Means compulsory, it is not a coincidence, something might be there. So if you have a tattoo, fine. The same location, fine. You have a scratch, this person also has the scratch. So it is not something coincidence, something more. Why? Because it's the same location, okay. Tattoo same, okay. Where you have a mark, here also the same person is also having a mark. So why so much similarity? So it might be natural evolution. So that means the FOXP2 gene, which is responsible for modern man, for the origin of language, is started from studies comparing human and other primates suggested that FOXP2 gene might be involved to some extent in language acquisition. Human differs from other primates by having 2 mutations, and Neanderthal shared those 2 mutations with wherever the sound is coming, wherever the vocal patterns are there, their FOXP2 gene is present. Sir, what is FOXP2? A structure will be there. ATCG, one structure will be there. If the structural formula is same, they named it as FOXP2. If the structural formula is same, then I and you have same gene. So they came to conclusion that FOXP2 gene is responsible for vocal sounds. And this FOXP2 gene is present in every animal who is making sound. But what happened with Neanderthal as well as modern man, the FOXP2 genes are same, including then the vocal patterns will be same or not? The vocal patterns will be same or not? So that FOXP2 gene is responsible for. Human differs from other primates by having 2 mutations, and Neanderthal shared 2 mutations with humans. But still debate continues on nature of the speech related to our species. However, then later University of California experiments have now revealed that the human version of FOXP2, which has 2 different amino acids, compared with the version carried by the chimpanzee, has differing effects on genes in the brains of 2 species. These differences could affect how the brain develops, and so explain why only human beings are capable of language, and the Neanderthal and the modern man is having the same FOXP2 gene and mutations, whereas the chimpanzee is not having. That is the reason the chimpanzee is not having the language. That is the reason modern man is having the language, and what we are having is also present in Neanderthal. So Neanderthal might be the beginning of this 2022. California study is 2022. What ancient DNA analysis which happened in 2004 is proved in the 2022. Yes, the FOXP2 gene they compared with chimpanzee. FOXP2 gene is also present in chimpanzee. That is the reason the chimpanzee is making sound. But the sounds are not similar. Why? Because the 2 mutations are not similar. Where the 2 mutations are similar? Neanderthal and modern man. In this way, 5 theories came with respect to biological evolution of language. Number 1, Holloway and Kulik. Number 2, difference between ape and modern man with respect to hyoid bone. Number 3, with respect to base of cranium studies. One base is vertical or straight for apes, and another is flexed. This flexed thing might be responsible for, we are evolving, 1960. Then what happened? Neanderthal could speak like modern man. How? Again comparing the skulls, hyoid bone. But finally I came to a scientific conclusion by comparing FOXP2 gene, and it is not only because of FOXP2 gene that FOXP2 gene is having 2 mutations, those 2 mutations are also same with Neanderthal. And this FOXP2 gene is responsible for vocal patterns. Those vocal patterns also same because of the 2 mutations. And the 2 mutations also similar with Neanderthal. Hence, the origin of language happened from Neanderthal. Origin of, what is the target? What is the target? Question is what? Origin of language. So origin of language biologically from where? 2022 study. California University study concluded that. This is about biological evolution of language. Repeat. No. The DNAs, they will, it depends upon the place where it is there. For example, she is asking, this is good questions, Neha. She is asking that the genes DNA might deteriorate, no sir. So, it is somewhere around 1.5 million years ago, 0.2 million years ago, means 2 lakhs years ago, a small hair was found. 2022 Nobel Prize, who got in physiology? Pablo. Why he got? Pablo. Your Nobel Prizes you have to remember, no? Pablo got Nobel Prize for 2022 year. Why he got? He studied on ancient DNAs. So, we can study the ancient DNAs, but we have to find a single layer of hair or single layer of nail which will alive at a very, very minute level. They found like this. Good question. She is asking that, then how the Neanderthal DNA is present till date? A small layer of hair was being present. A 0.0 mm of a layer was present. From that they took the DNA structure and they decoded it. 2022 Nobel Peace Prize was been given to Pablo because he studied on ancient hominin DNAs. This is about our topic.